The NBA playoffs, Levi, are now officially, most of them are going to the first round. During this recording, we just saw that the Detroit Pistons came back from 3-1 and beat the Orlando Magic to advance on to the next round. Well, they will play the Philadelphia 76ers, who also came back down from 3-1 to advance to the next round. Levi, what are your reactions to really those two comebacks?
Oh my goodness. I I am baffled by this outcome by the Orlando Magic. I'm sitting there with my roommate Nico, and we're reacting to this entire game in Game 6, and our initial thoughts like this team is incredible. Like what number 8 team is going to come and defeat the number 1 Detroit Pistons, who again have come on a significant improvement and look like a team that could win this all. And we're seeing them get destroyed by the Magic in their first 3 games. And now you got the Pistons, they come back. It's like, okay, now the series is getting interesting. Looks like the Detroit team has actually come here to play and are serious about this run they're trying to make in the playoffs. Then you get to game 6. Everything is all 3, they're 3-2 at this point. And Magic comes out here, they're up 24 points in the first half. Everybody's on a high there in Orlando. I had a lot of people that I knew that went to that game, super excited for this team. Like, man, these guys could really win it all. They go into the second half. They scored 19 points in the second half overall. They had 11 points in the third and eight points in the fourth quarter. I'm sorry, 9 points. They had 9 points in the fourth quarter. What were we doing? They went out there, they missed every single shot. There was a lot of fouls, I will say, that went Detroit's way. They didn't get a lot for Orlando. But how can you go and call yourself a playoff team? You looked like there was a reason you were the 8th seed. We were completely shocked that you guys were winning this series, and then you go and play like an 8th seed. You guys should have been the number 1 seed basically on how you played through your first 4 or 5 games. And now you guys just got yourselves eliminated from the playoffs in an embarrassing fashion, might I add. This has got to be without a doubt one of the worst collapses I have seen in an NBA playoff game in my entire life.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was baffled too. I was very shocked that the Magic had that absolute collapse in the game 6, because they looked like they were about to put away Detroit and like upset a number 1 seed. I think it would have been the first like number 1 seed to lose since Miami beat the Bucks, if I remember correctly, with Giannis that series, and they had Jimmy Butler, and that team went on to go to the NBA Finals. I was shocked by that. I was even more shocked with the Sixers. Again, when we did our NBA playoff preview, I was sipping on the Celtics Kool-Aid. I was all in on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown being like this dynamic duo. Jason Tatum coming back from his Achilles injuries with this almost 60-win Boston Celtics team for the regular season, and they just collapsed. And I'll give credit where credit's due. The Sixers came out, they just put their nose to the grind and just absolutely gutted out a gutsy win versus the Celtics. Albeit there were certain points in that game 7 where it did look a little dicey for the Sixers, but obviously, they finally get a playoff win. In his year words, like a lot of people thought that they weren't going to be able to be that good. But hey, now comes the greatest challenge of all in Joel Embiid's career in Philadelphia 76ers. It's called the second round. And if they get past the second round, they get to the conference finals, Levi, they'll get to the conference finals for the first time since Allen Iverson was on that team.
Really?
Yes. That long. So it's been that crazy. Some other news, the Timberwolves upset the Nuggets and win that series 4-2. I love that series. That series is awesome, Levi. I don't know if you caught any of that action. Shout out to Terrence Shannon Jr. and Ayo Dosunmu, 2 Fighting Illini. They went out and completely gave work to Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets that series. Also, shout out to the Timberwolves. They had 8 active players in that last game versus the Nuggets, and they gutted out and won it.
Isn't that
So
crazy? When Anthony Edwards, he got injured during the series, right? It
correct.
was
Yeah,
a yeah.
he has a bone bruise in his knee.
Yeah, like I was kind of baffled that this team, Anthony Edwards, that's their guy. There's no question to that.
Mm-hmm.
And when he gets injured, a lot of expectations probably like, oh, I think Denver's going to win this series, but they managed to perform amazing even without Anthony Edwards in there. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, like this team can be on fire whether they have their best guy or not. They still have some good pieces, then they work together incredible. But I was a little shocked by the Nuggets. Everybody's talking about Jokic, and I would have been surprised if they went and win another one. But yeah, the Timberwolves, that was not a team I was expecting to be in this playoffs and to be moving on to the second round. Very incredible for them.
Yeah. Shout out to Suma. That's my guy. He was averaging almost like what 21, 22 points a game in that series that you have versus the Timberwolves. So or versus the Nuggets, excuse me. So again, gutsy win by the Timberwolves. They are going on. They're playing the San Antonio Spurs, who beat the Blazers 4-1 in an absolute thumping. Uh, Obviously, the storyline was Victor Wembanyama coming back from his concussion. But obviously, like the Spurs, even without Victor Wembanyama, have proven that they are a team that is just built to be a postseason contender. So shout out to them. And then another one, the Thunder have swept the Suns. Shout out to the NBA refs because they were the biggest storyline because Devin Booker got fined $35,000 for calling out that referee, saying that he was bad at his job. Which was so funny.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's there's no surprise here. They're the reigning NBA champs. They're stacked on that team. Shea's an incredible player, and I kind of feel bad for the Suns. They got
Controversially a foul
absolutely
merchant.
destroyed.
Controversially a foul merchant.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. 2 shots. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
But yeah, I'm not surprised by Thunder, and now unfortunately the Lakers have to go up against them in their second round. So prayers up for that.
Yep, and obviously the last series that we're going to talk about before we get into Raptors versus Cavs because they're about to tip off in about 16 minutes as we're recording this. The Atlanta Hawks.
Oh my gosh.
Thoughts and prayers. Hey, can we get a moment of silence for the Hawks? Shout out to Shaquille. That moment where Shaq was like trying to resuscitate the mascot on Inside the NBA was so funny. He goes, oh. And like, you put the little tiny toy mascot on a coffin. And I'm just like, bro, that's so sad. But yeah. that was shocking. That Hawks game was bad.
Well, yeah, and I mean specifically, it comes into Game 6, and when I saw that game, the first thing that came to my head is that Bart Simpson meme. Stop it! He's already dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh. When I watched this game, I thought like Magic's upset was really bad. This is so much different because the Knicks actually did not blow their lead that they had. But the Knicks, man, shout out to New York. Congratulations. You guys have an incredible Knicks team.
Hey, the good news is you don't have Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers to give you PTSD this time.
Oh, but don't worry. I'm sure they'll be back there next year to bring up some concerns. But I mean, I think the highlight of their matchup was Brunson. I'm a big Jalen Brunson believer, and they've turned this Knicks team around, and I don't know, maybe maybe they're not going to be that team that gets toyed with every year, as stated in that in the movie Soul.
I mess with this team every year, and the Knicks lose again. Yeah, not this time, but shout out to the Knicks. Like that game was over by the first quarter. Like it was like 45-19 at the end of the first, and I think it was like what they were almost up by like 50 at half. if I remember correctly.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I'm pretty
Dude, like
sure.
it was a thumping by the Knicks. They didn't come around to play. They were like, we're coming in here and we're putting down the Hawks, and then obviously the Knicks are going to play the winner of the last game as we're recording this, the Raptors versus Cavs, going to Game 7, a la the whole RJ Barrett, Kawhi Leonard esque 3-pointer that he made to send the game to Game 7. Levi, I don't know if you caught that game, or that shot, but that was incredible.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed. I'm rooting for the Cavs. I'm sorry, Raptors fans, but I was hoping that they were going to be able to close out the series, and now that we have to go to Game 7 to see the final conclusion to this, I've been a James Harden hater. I will say that, but I'll give him this pass this one time because I think it would actually be kind of cool to see him take the team and they can go um, get themselves to maybe like the probably the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't think they're going to get all the way to the finals, but it's such a shakeup. James Harden's been in so many different situations with different teams, and it's just kind of nice to see him get a little bit of glory in the playoffs since he hasn't had a whole lot of success. So, but I'm really hoping for the Cavs on this one.
Yeah, we'll have to see because again, as we're recording this, they're just about to tip off. We'll obviously get our reactions to that game on the next episode. But yeah, Levi, out of all these series, what has stood out to you the most? Like, what series or like what team has stood out to you the most this first round?
Yeah, I mean, going back to OKC, they're the reigning champs.
Mm-hmm.
They do not seem like they have a single flaw. I think hot take here, I think we're on the verge of our next super team. I think the last one to be that would be the Warriors back
Mm-hmm.
in the late 2010s. And I believe this is where Thunder is going. I could see them in this. We're in 2026 right now. I believe by 2030, I believe that they will have won at least a total of 3 NBA finals. I think that
Ooh.
they are that I think they're that good that this is the dynasty. This is Shea's story now. He's going to be the guy that's running the NBA, and the Thunder has given us a lot to root for. Everybody was excited for them last year winning it. I mean, this was this was their first championship to take to OKC, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, and now they feel like the Warriors, where they're going to be the team that's hated, because if they go on and they win a total of 3 in the next 4 years, they're going to become the next hated team outside of Warriors from their dynasty. So, but I think they're the team that stands out, and they have a bright future ahead, no question. I will not be surprised if they are playing for the championship again this year.
Yeah. I think the series that stood out to me, I think the most was the Timberwolves. I think that team has that grit and grind mentality of like getting it out of the mud. I think really overall, like even with Anthony Edwards being out, and they lost Ayo Dosunmu in that game 6 due to a calf injury, they came out and played phenomenal. Julius Randle did really, really good. Terrence Shannon came out with 21 points in a role where it's like he's not used to being in the starting lineup and played very well. I just think that this Sixers team like really has this like dogged mentality of like really giving it to teams and like really like getting it out the mud and like playing their way at basketball. I think it'll be a great matchup. Rudy Gobert versus his fellow countryman and Victor Wembanyama in the second round. Those two guys are just gonna be battling it out, and I'm gonna be very excited to see how they're really like the future face of the league in Victor Wembanyama versus like a guy in Rudy Gobert who was like I think it's a 3 or 4 time defensive player of the year. So it's gonna be very exciting to see that.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know if they've announced Anthony Edwards' return. I don't know if we have any
they
updates
they say
for
he's
his
out
injury.
at least 2 weeks, so
It's
he
two
could miss
weeks.
the whole entire next series potentially.
He could, and I guess I just kind of really hope for the Timberwolves, like you mentioned. They've been incredible so far. and they could be one of those great underdogs going into the second round, and maybe later on in the next few rounds. But I think it's going to be pretty difficult for them, especially with how having Anthony Edwards in this second round. And it's like you said, the Spurs they destroyed the Blazers, and Victor Wembanyama, he's been incredible, and it's going to be hard for the Timberwolves. I think I'm if if I'm going to be addressing what like the series record could be, I'm going to say it's going to be the Spurs. It's going to be 4-2. They win at
Mm.
least 2 games.
Well, we'll have to see. Again, the NBA playoffs have been absolutely phenomenal.